Real-life cases of hidden crawl spaces and disappearances. They say houses remember things. The laughter, the pain, the screams that no one hears. Sometimes the walls hold secrets longer than the people who built them. This is one of those stories. In 2004, the Danavon family moved into a quiet, aging home in upstate New York. It was a fixer-upper, cheap, a little too cheap in fact. The listing had been up for over 2 years. Locals stayed away. No one said why. The house was old, creaky, full of dust and drafty windows. But nothing overtly terrifying. That changed on the third night. Their 9-year-old daughter Lily woke up crying, said she heard whispers behind the wall. Her parents told her it was just the wind. Old houses make noises, but Lily insisted, said a voice called her name, not shouted, whispered, gently, repeatedly. 2 nights later, Lily refused to sleep in her room. Her mom found scratch marks on the inside of the closet door. When asked if she did it, Lily said, "I was trying to stop her from coming in." When her parents looked confused, she added, "The girl in the wall, she wants to come out. She's lonely." Out of desperation, the Donovans brought in a contractor to inspect the wall. A cold draft was coming from behind the plaster. When he cut into the drywall, he found a hidden crawl space, and in it, a child's dress, a small mattress, and scratch marks all over the inside. But that wasn't the worst part. Taped to the wood beams were Polaroids of a girl, same age as Lily, same face, but they were clearly decades old. The photos were dated 1981. Police were called. The investigation uncovered something chilling. In 1982, a girl named Sarah Whitmore went missing from that very house. She was never found. Her foster parents claimed she ran away, but neighbors recalled hearing screams late at night and then nothing. Her name faded with time until now. After the crawl space was sealed off, the whispering stopped. But Lily changed. She stopped talking, started drawing pictures of herself with hollow eyes. On their final night in the house, her parents woke to find Lily standing in front of the wall, whispering back. "She's not gone," she said. She just needed a new voice. They moved out the next morning. The house remains empty. But if you ask the neighbors, they'll tell you sometimes they still hear a little girl singing behind the dry wall when the wind dies down. Some houses don't forget, and some children are never truly alone. This is Silent Grip. The Red Room, a true paranormal encounter in New Orleans. In 2006, Emily Caldwell, a 32-year-old photographer from Oregon, inherited a strange old house in the Garden District of New Orleans after the death of an aunt she barely knew. The property was a classic Creole townhouse with iron-laced balconies, high ceilings, and a strange reputation. People in the neighborhood called it the Whisper House. Emily didn't believe in ghosts. She considered herself rational, artistic, grounded. So she packed up her life and moved in, thinking the old house would be the perfect place for her photography and a fresh start after a painful breakup. The moment she arrived, though, something felt off. Neighbors watched her unload from behind lace curtains. One old woman warned her softly, "Keep the red room locked," Emily asked what she meant, but the woman just shook her head and walked away. Inside, the house had a musty, velvet-draped charm. Dust floated in the sunlight, and every floorboard seemed to sigh when stepped on. There were 4 bedrooms. 3 were untouched, but the 4th was padlocked. A blood-red door, faintly warped from moisture, stood at the end of the upstairs hall, the red room. Emily, of course, was curious. She asked around. No one had solid answers, just stories. A girl vanished there in the 1940s. A man went mad and nailed the door shut in the 70s, but nothing concrete. On her 3rd night, the dream started. She saw flashes of the red door, heard scratching, a whispering voice saying, "Let me out." When she woke, her nails were cracked and her bed sheets were torn, as if she'd clawed at them in her sleep. The padlock on the red room door, it was hanging open. She swore she hadn't touched it. Inside the room was a disturbing stillness. No furniture, just cracked red wallpaper and a long mirror leaning against the far wall. The floor was stained, dark and irregular, like something once soaked into the boards. Emily snapped a few photos for curiosity's sake, but when she developed them, something was wrong. In every shot, a dark silhouette stood behind her, tall, indistinct, but human, except she had been alone. That night, she set up her camera to record the red room. For hours, nothing happened, but around 3:17 a.m., the door creaked open by itself. The camera captured faint footsteps. Then a shape moved across the frame, a black figure with impossibly long limbs, and whispered, "You see me now." The next day, Emily found deep scratches on the inside of her bedroom door. She contacted a local historian desperate for answers. They dug into archives and found something chilling. Her aunt had a sister, a twin, who disappeared in that house at age 10. The only clue left behind was a child's drawing of a girl in a red room, mouth stitched shut. Emily tried to leave, but the house fought back. Her car keys vanished. Lights blew out. On her last night there, the red room mirror shattered spontaneously, and Emily saw, just for a split second, her reflection smiling back at her, while her own face remained frozen in terror. She left everything behind and fled to Oregon, never looking back. Locals say the red room is locked again, but sometimes you can still hear scratching behind the door, and if you knock, it knocks back. Silent crypt. This happened in 2019. I haven't talked about it much, not properly, because I still can't explain what I saw. And part of me doesn't want to. It was early spring, but the nights were still sharp. I'd been driving most of the afternoon and decided to take a detour through a part of the countryside I didn't know well. I wasn't in a rush. I just wanted to be alone for a while. The road wound past fields, through a patch of dense woodland, then opened onto a flat expanse with a building sitting right in the middle of it. From a distant it looked industrial, low, and long with a chimney jutting into the sky. I don't know why I stopped. Something about it pulled at me. No signs, no fences, just this massive silent structure. I stepped out of the car. It was colder than it should have been. The closer I got, the more unnatural it felt. The metal walls were streaked with rust. But the air around the place, it wasn't right. It was too still. No birds, no wind, just the soft crunch of frost under my boots. When I went inside, it was like walking into a freezer. The temperature dropped instantly. Frost lined the floor, the railings, even the inside of the windows. Everything was coated in a thin layer of ice that hadn't melted despite the warm weather outside. There were rows of metal hooks hanging from overhead rails, swaying gently, though the air didn't move. The walls were covered in thick insulation, most of it torn and hanging like skin. I wandered through narrow corridors, each one darker and colder than the last. Then I heard something, a low scraping sound, far off at first. I stopped, listened. It wasn't wind, it was deliberate, like something heavy being dragged slowly across tile. I should have left. I knew it then, but I couldn't move. Something had shifted around me. The factory didn't feel empty anymore. I turned a corner and saw footprints, fresh ones, in the frost, leading out of one of the side corridors. Big, heavy prints, like someone wearing boots, but they weren't mine. And I hadn't heard anyone come in. Then the lights flickered, just once, enough to let me see a shadow at the end of the corridor. Tall, still, facing me. I didn't wait. I turned back, but the path had changed. Hallways that had been straight now twisted. Doors that were open were suddenly shut. Every step I took deeper into that place felt like a mistake I couldn't undo. And all the while, behind me, that dragging sound, closer, slower, heavier. I don't remember how I got out. I came to just outside the building on the cold ground, with no sense of how much time had passed. My phone was dead. My watch had stopped. I got in the car and drove. Didn't look back. I've never found that road again. I've tried once. The forest was there, but the building wasn't, as if it had never existed. But I remember the cold, and sometimes, when the wind's right, I hear that dragging sound in my dreams.